Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to our normal Friday morning webinar. I am Jim Meixner. I'm filling in for Tim Lankford today, who happens to be in Dallas. To begin with, there's a couple of housekeeping notes that I kind of want to go over here first. As a reminder, next Thursday, March 10th, is our 7th annual Life and Annuity Expo. This is the premier life and annuity marketing training event in the Midwest. And it's not too late to register, so if you haven't and you'd like to come, please go to our webpage and please register. There are going to be two keynote speakers that we've got. One, Bill Harris. He's an annuity guru and sales innovator. He's built 3 organizations that have sold over $1 billion in an annuity premium. He's conducted over 3,000 speaking engagements over his lengthy career and has written 5 books and has been quoted in Money Magazine as well as the Wall Street Journal. He's going to be a very good person to speak to or listen to. Also, we're going to have Joe Ross, who is a life insurance sales coach. He's a 35-year veteran and successful producer, recruiter, trainer, and carrier executive. He's widely known for his motivational presentation style, industry knowledge, and sales insights. Joe's going to discuss how you take your life sales to the next level. If you can make it to that expo, please do so. Also, we're running a Las Vegas contest. Depending on your structure, either $20,000 issue paid by the end of March or $40,000 takes you and a guest along with airfare and hotel to Las Vegas. There's also for $60,000 issue paid, there's a Grand Cayman, Island trip that's going to be held in May of next year. So we had a very good week in production this week, and I am going to have Beth, Tim's wife, actually go through the leaderboard, and we're going to start off with the annuity producers, and then we're going to continue on with the life producers. So Beth, take it away.
For everything, can you hear okay? Am I coming through okay?
I think you're coming through fine.
Okay. All right. Yes, we're going to start with the top annuity producers for the last week of February 2016. We've got number 6, Richard Mize, 1 application for $106,000. Number 5, Jonathan Acevedo, 1 application for $112,000. Number 4, Eric Coons, 1 application for $137,000. Number 3, Denise Lilly, 1 application for $150,000. Number 2, James Spalding, 1 application for $159,901. And number 1 was Andrea Nichols for 1 application, and the premium was $329,933. Now moving to the long list we have here, we have the top life producers for the last week of February. And we're going to start down here at number 31. You've got Paul Robinson, submitted 2 applications for $1,103. Number 30, Gary Gabawi, 1 application, $1,210. Number 29, Carl Hyde, 2 applications for $1,335. Number 28, James Walker, 3 applications, $1,800. Number 27, Justin West, 1 application for $1,879. Number 26, Thomas Flavada, 2 applications. Number 25, Eric Coons, 2 applications, $1,933. Number 24, Nancy Conradi, 2 applications, $2,082 in premium. Number 23, Tim Lankford, 3 applications, $2,350. Number 20 applications for $2,507. Number 21, Dennis Harnanen, 3 applications, $52. Number 20, Carrie Rail, 1 application for $3,088. Number 19, Andre Daines, 5 applications totaling $3,097. Number 18, Jim Meixner, 4 applications, $3,145. Number 17, Todd Goodwin, 2 applications for $3,177. Number 16, Doug Huber, 1 application for $3,340. Of 1 application, $3,396. Number 14, Samuel Burns, 1 application, $3,408. Number 13, Doug Boyce, 3 applications, $3,534. Number 12, Del Rice, 4 applications for $4,009 in premium. Number 11, Paul St. Laurent, 9 applications for $4,363. Now moving to the top 10 list here. Number 10, Josh Sivak, 5 applications for $4,584. Number 9, Tim Barnfield, 3 applications, $4,799. Number 8, Zach Rawson, 10 applications, $5,882. Number 7, Alex Joyce, 7 applications, $6,141. Number 6, Frank Endress, 6 applications for $6,162. Number 5, Smith Solomon, 3 applications, $6,307. Number 4, Kevin Bianchi, 13 applications totaling $8,238. Number 3, Talia Goldsmith, 9 applications for $8,277. And our top 2 this week, number 2, Brian Elston, 1 application for $11,195. And number 1, Paul Rowe, 3 applications totaling $19,607 in premium. And this is all for the last week of February 2016. That's all I've got, Jim.
Beth, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Those are just some amazing numbers. And it's anything that you can do, you can make it happen. So again, thanks so much for reading that off. Thanks for your time. Now, every Tuesday, next Tuesday, Tim will go over how to 5% of the people you speak to. He will be making live phone calls to people who have responded to one of our leads. And every Friday, we're going to have a guest speaker. And it's going to be an agent that makes it happen. And today, we have an agent that we have brought on. Our featured guest is Chris Curtis. He's been a friend of Tim's for the past 7 years. He runs mortgage protection leads 3 to 4 days a week and consistently has issue paid over 6 figures every year. And I need to get Chris here, so bear with me just one moment.
Hello, Jim.
Hello. I have Chris on the line here. Oh, excuse me, just 1 second, please.
I got you now, Jim. You're good.
Okay, that's good. Chris has consistently, like I said, been a top producer and been in 6 figures at least for the last 7 years. And Chris, maybe you can tell our audience a little bit of what your appointments go like. What's a typical phone script? How do you gain rapport with the clients? Key transitions in your conversations, and when do you ask for the sale? Maybe you can kind of highlight some of those things and help other people become successful as well.
Sure, Jim, no problem. Some nice numbers. I was really looking at that last top five, and I didn't catch the name of number three there, but 9 applications for 8,200. That's pretty solid. So, I'm not sure who that person was, so we'll have to do some training with that person here soon. They're out there shaking the bushes. Good job. You know, happy to be on the call today. I have done Tim for I think 7 years now. It's time flies as we all get older. I know Tim's in the airport at the moment, and we've been doing mortgage protection for quite some time now. And at the end of the day, it's once you get the process down, and there are definitely some key elements, some key transitions. You had mentioned early, right at the end there, about when do I ask for the sale, and I'll definitely go through that portion. I always assume the sale. So that's the first thing you have to do before you kind of have to ask for it. But the couple things that I want to really talk about today is I want to really talk about what I call the preemptive strike before they come up. If you don't talk about life insurance, an example, before the end of the appointment, then that's what they're going to give you after you show them pricing, and they say, well, we've already got life insurance, right? Expectations, to me, are the two big key elements in the process, in the appointment process. Because at the end of the day, if they don't know what the expectations are, and that's also how I'm asking for the sale. If they don't know what the expectations are, what the process is going to be, you have to look at it. When you're asking those questions, or when you're thinking about how to ask those questions before you actually get in front of it, like they would answer the question, right? Try to listen to what you're saying on the other side, not right, because that right there is going to tell you a lot. I can tell you, the great thing about this business is you can set your own schedule. It's pretty awesome. But the biggest problem with this is you can set your own schedule, right? It's a great business, but there are definitely some problems that a lot of people can have because they're not diligent, they're not consistent. If you're not diligent, you're not consistent in doing it every single day, then your income is going to go. And it can still do that a little bit if you're somewhat consistent, but it's going to be a lot more straight to do. Anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, you're still going to have those times where you're going to have high commission months or weeks, and then you're going to have low commission weeks. And that's the one thing that I always tell people is to make sure that you get out there and plan ahead. We got spring break coming up. We've been doing pretty good here lately, but at the end of the day, maybe I want to go out and make sure I have enough funds to be able to go help make my family do whatever we need to do for spring. Those are the things you have to start looking ahead, and we always look at the calendar, a couple months out, and when we hit it pretty hard every week, but then when we have to hit it even harder, just to make ends meet and be prepared for the next thing that's going on. Let's talk about the phone script right now, Jim. The phone script is you can come across and you can blow through leads. You can sound like a telemarketer, right? I'm not going to actually, now that I just remember what you said there about Tim, I'm not going to go through this phone script too much because I know that Tim's going to be doing that on Tuesday. But when it comes to the phone script there, I'm a big believer in always, even if you think you're prepared and you know it, to always have it in front of you, because you'll be surprised of how many times you'll have it. You won't have it in front of you, and then all of a sudden you start saying things you shouldn't say. I'm not saying you have to read from it once you know it, but it's good to have it. And Tim's exactly right. You can set 70% of the appointments you have from there. And so I'll go through mine real quick, and it's probably going to be pretty similar to Tim's. But at the end of the day, I'm going to let them go and deal with this more on Tuesday. Jim, you want to help me out here and kind of go along, and I'll ring you up, and you just say hello and just follow the process. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay. We always just start out. Ring, ring. You just say hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello. Is this Jim?
Yes, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim. This is Chris. I'm with the Mortgage Protection Department. I'm the field underwriter that was assigned to your case, Jim. You sent in that letter about that. I have here that your date of birth is March 7th, 1950. Your height is looks like 6 foot. You weigh 180 pounds. You're a non-smoker. Is that correct, Jim?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I got your wife here, Barbara. Looks like she was born on this date. She's this tall, non-smoker. Is that correct also?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Real quick, Jim, do you guys have any health conditions I need to be aware of, like cancer, heart attack, stroke, anything?
No, nothing really to speak of. I mean, I do take some blood pressure medication. That's all, and my wife doesn't take anything.
Good. You guys are pretty healthy. No problem there. I'm supposed to be in your area, looks like tomorrow, and Sunday to go over your options. Usually takes about 15-20 minutes. What time of day is best for you?
Usually late afternoon.
Late afternoon. Okay. Late afternoon. I've got about a 4 o'clock. That work for both of you?
That should work just fine. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put you down for about 4. Give me some time on both sides, just in case traffic hits me up a little bit. Make sure Barbara's there, and mark the calendar down. I'll see you tomorrow about 4 o'clock, all right?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. I'm going to let Tim really go over more of that, some of the injections and everything that deals with that. I kind of want to jump into the appointment process. I appreciate that. And if anybody has any questions, please do me a favor. Let's write them down, and I'll definitely go through some things as we go along here. But the biggest thing that I did, Jim, and I want everybody to understand is I just went right into it. That letter, I think I did say, do you remember that? But I didn't. But I just went into verifying the information, right? I was official about it. I wasn't. I assumed, it was you. You said it was you. I said I got your letter, and I had all your information there, right? I know some leads may have the height and weight and all that on there. Some may not. It just depends upon. I'm not, what kind of leads you're running there, but at the end of the day, you're just verifying the information on the lead, right? Sometimes I will talk about their mortgage. I got your loan here. It says it's $186,000. How many years did you get? Because it is a mortgage protection appointment. So even though we are talking life insurance, this is a mortgage protection appointment. You have to talk about the mortgage, because at the end of the day, that's just, otherwise it's going to throw people off, and that's what they ask for, and we definitely want to take care of that.
Chris, can I interject? Can I interject for just a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
The audio is a little bit choppy. I don't know if you're talking right into the phone or which, but it's sometimes a little bit difficult to hear.
Okay, hold on real quick. Let me see if I can fix something here. I'm not on speakerphone. Hold on. Is this a little bit better, Jim?
I think that's a little bit better, yes.
A little bit better? Okay, we'll try this and just let me know if... okay, let's try this here. So when we talk about the appointment process, you know, I usually go in and I'll just, as soon as I pull up to the house, I always wave when I get from the car. I always have my bag in the back seat. I go in and grab my bag. I'm walking the front door. I always am looking out the window or not. It's just one of those things, you know, most people will look out the window when you come in, and if they see you wave and they think you see them, they're more than likely to open the door. I know it sounds a little weird, but trust me, it still works. You know, just like anything, you know, if you're a likable person, you're not going to have a problem with bond and rapport. You know, you want to build the confidence. You want to know that you're interested in them as a person. You're there to help their family. I usually find things on the wall or this or, you know, and ask about it. You know, oh, is this your son? He's in the military? You know, oh, yeah, okay. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be talking about yourself. I don't care what you say. You know, like if I start talking about their dogs, what's your dog's name? His name's Ralph. Great. You know, and he might be a Chihuahua. Well, yeah, you know, I actually have a Chihuahua. I'll do something to bond and rapport with them, but I'm not going to keep talking about my dog. I want to talk about their dog. I want to talk about their grandkids. I want to talk about their kids. Right? People want to talk about themselves. They don't really ultimately care about you. It sounds terrible to say, but that's the honest to God truth. That's pretty much sales 101 right there. You want to keep it about 5 to 7 minutes. If you go too long, you know, it may seem a little insincere. Next, step 2, verify the information on the lead. I show them the lead. I say, okay, let me check everything out here. Mike, is this your signature? Yep. Okay, let me verify some information. You know, I know I went through all this. Everything was correct here. Perfect. All right. And I'll go to Mary. Ask Mary the same thing, the wife, and just kind of verify everything. Sometimes I'll joke around and I'll say, now, Mike, I know you filled it out. We call you the smart one since you signed it. Or sometimes Mary will, right? She goes, oh, I did it for him. I said, okay, that makes sense. Because your handwriting is that nice, right? So I just have a good time with people. That's all it is. But at the end of the day, you know, the next step is I ask them a question. I say, I'm assuming that you're like most people. If something happens to you, you want to make sure one's paid off, right? And I shake my head yes as I'm saying that. And of course, they just shake their head yes. Right? They will always say yes. I promise you. I've never had somebody. Actually, you know, probably over the years, I've probably had 1 or 2, and I don't know. People are people, but you know, 99.5% of the time, Jim, you're always going to have people that are going to say yes and everything. Does all that make sense so far, Jim?
Yes.
Good. You know, there is the whole table thing. You know, people say, oh, I don't sit at the table. I do sit at the table. I've sold them at the table. I've sold them not at the table. But I would rather get to the table. And as soon as I get to the house, let's talk about that real quick. So as soon as I get to the house, I'm looking for the dining room table. Now, as we know, like I said, some people may not have a dining room table. Some people just may be cluttered as all crap. But if I can clear out a space and move 2 or 3 things, I'll do it. I'm going to take charge in the home. I don't want to go sit on the couch unless I have to sit on the couch, right? Because the table is where people do business at. And that's really ultimately where you need to sit. I've been at some tables where I couldn't even get near them, and because they were just full of everything. Well, that's okay. But if you can clear out a spot and say, oh, it's okay, wait, look, I can do this and this, and here's your chair, here's mine, and I'll put the chair out for them, put the chair there for me. I always try to sit in a position to where I'm having both the people, and I can look at them both, they're sitting beside them, mainly because I don't want to sit in the middle of the table and have the husband on one side and the wife on the other. Because when I'm looking at the husband and the wife's making signals to them, right? And I don't want, and I always just say, look, I can't, you know, if that does happen, I'll say, Mary, can you sit over here beside the door because I can't keep going back and forth and doing this tennis match thing. We all laugh about it. So it's just one of those things you always want to make sure you're sitting at the table and then direct them where you want them to sit. You're in charge. This is where I need you to sit, and it is what it is. So, all right. So I did go through, asking the question about they want the loan paid off, and everybody will say yeah. I go through mortgage question. The reason is, if you don't, they're going to wondering, what the heck you're doing there. So, I kind of go through a little phrase, and it goes roughly, hey, Bill, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask you a few questions so I can better understand your situation to see if I can help you. Please don't think I'm not being nosy. It's just that I want to make sure, you don't overinsure. Is that fair? I always shake my head yes when I'm asking questions I want them to say yes to. That's pretty common there. How much is your mortgage? How much do you owe on it? How much, a month do you pay for your mortgage? I always ask them, do you get an interest rate? If they refied, how much was it before? And then so what you have to realize too, let's say they had a 7-8% and now they're down to 4. I'm like, holy cow, man, you guys save some money every month. That's awesome. What you guys save? $200 or $300 a month? Yep. Yeah, we did. And if you just ask them nonchalantly, they'll usually tell you, what did I just do there? I uncovered premium, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to try to go after all $200 or $300, but it means that, hey, they've got a little extra money in their budget to be able to make sure that they can do this. So, I'm actually uncovering premium there, which is, very important. I ask them if they're paying any extra to pay it down faster. That's a big deal too. I always ask them how much they have left, how many years left on the mortgage, if they did refi. If it is a new mortgage, sometimes we get people that have had a mortgage for a while, but how much, how much equity do they have in their home? I always figure out how much equity, because if they don't qualify for regular term mortgage protection and I have to go mortgage payment protection, then I can be talking about, how much equity they're protecting, right? Because, you've already got 40. That's awesome. So I always make sure that they're definitely doing good things. See if they're doing that, and that's kind of a little service that I do. I don't sign them up for that or anything, but I just let them know that, if you're doing the bi-monthly, you can knock off roughly 7 years off your mortgage, by doing that. And that's just paying the payment every 2 weeks. So, the bank, of course, won't do that. I definitely go and I want to figure out what their income is next. That's the next step. Because if we don't figure out their income, you don't know how much they make, right? And then there's also, this is where to the point that I get some pain questions coming in, right? So, for instance, I'll say, hey, Jim, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask you a few questions so I can better understand your situation so I can try to help you guys. Well, you know what? I'm reading from the wrong section here. Okay, I just realized I did that. Sorry. So, I'm sorry, figuring out income. I'll say, Mike, how much income do you make every month, outside of Mary, and, how much gets deposited into your bank account every month? And I wait for their answer, right? I don't answer for them. Let them tell me how much they make. It goes into the bank account, right? So that's what they bring home. And I'll say, Mary, what about you? And I'm writing this down, and I have the left side of the paper, I got the right side of the paper. I got Bill on one side, I got Mary on the other. And so I'm writing income down, and so I'll figure it out. I'll say, okay, so your combined income is X amount. If Bill brings home $3,500 a month and Mary brings home $1,000 a month, well, there's $4,500 right there combined. And then I'll say, Mike, listen, I want to come back to you. I don't know if you ever thought about this before, but this may be the first time. But obviously, that's why you have me here. So if you died of a heart attack or or cancer, and he had cancer and died 2 months later down the road, and she does a funeral, and then everything's done. She comes back home, and it's just her right now. How much of that $3,500 that you bring home is going to keep going into the bank account every month? And I shut up. And I don't, because I want them to understand right there is the whole reason that they sent the form in to begin with. Because if they have a mortgage payment of $1,200 a month, he brings home $35, she brings home $1,000. Well, it's pretty simple math right there. She can't afford the mortgage. That's why he filled it out. But I want him to say that, and I'll say, okay, is that all income? And so he says, no, she won't get any of that. That's what I make every month. I'll say, okay, so that's all income. There's no settlements or anything that keeps coming in every month. No, there's not. Okay. So, the goal of that is to clearly illustrate the reduction in income, like I said, so when the earner dies. And so I'll go, Mary, when you out for Mike, none, okay. So, and some people will go through a budget, some people won't. I really don't go through a monthly budget. That's not really something that I kind of get into. I've known a few people that have. But, so we're really finding the pain and finding the value. And then a lot of times, when I do that, and I'll go, okay, Mary, Bill, this is how much you make. Mary, it's how much you make. Bill, after you die, and how much is going to keep coming in to the check, over to Mary. And he says none, and then I'll ask Mary, and then I'll just wait, and I'll wait for a moment, and I'll say, okay, I see why you have me here, right? So I've already uncovered the pain, and they're definitely feeling it at this point, right? And so the next portion is, I call this preemptive strike. You have to go into this. How much life insurance do they have? If you don't do this, you're going to get the objection later on. And I say, Mike, how much life insurance outside of work that's in force? How much life insurance do you currently have outside of work that's in force? And I'll wait for them to tell me, Mary, how much do you have? Oh, we've got this, and we've got something that the credit union gave us before, and well, I'll tell you, and I jump on it. I shake my head yes, because it is. Anytime a credit union or bank gives them free life insurance, it's because they opened up an account and they got like $1,000 or $5,000 in accidental death insurance. That's all it is. So people just don't know what they have. If they go, I'm not sure. Really, when Mike tells me how much he's got, the next question is, okay, so who's it with? How much? How much do you pay a month? I want all the details. And I tell them to go get their policies. Because at the end of the day, if they don't get their policies out, and they truly don't know what they have, then that's just not doing you any good. And if they have life insurance outside of work, I'll say, great. So you've got the income loss covered. I like that. Perfect. So we're just going to focus on the mortgage. It's smart that you have it. Most people, their income, to replacement to cover the debt, and that's foolish because at the end of the day, you're just losing money. So what you have to understand there is I'm asking about their life insurance, and then I'm placing what that life insurance is for. Okay, great. You've got the income loss covered. Perfect. So we're just talking about the mortgage protection. Because I want to differentiate between what they have and what we're going to do. Right? Very, very important. All right, getting close to the end here. So once I kind of go through the preemptive strike about that, I want to make sure, and I want to go through, the next part is expectations. This is setting the expectation of what's going to happen next. Because if I don't get their buy-in, I'm not going to go through numbers. I'm not going to figure out numbers for them. Very few people, if I don't get the buy-in, I don't figure up numbers for. And so what I mean by that is, Jim, if we're sitting down and I go through everything that I've gone through so far, and I'll say, great. I say, I just want you to understand what the situation is, what the expectations are of what happens here in order to see if I can help you out, right? So I tell them, simply put, I'm a field underwriter. I can't approve or deny you. I'm going to ask you some quick health questions to figure out which company would be best for you. We work with about 12, right? So after that, I'll put some numbers together, give you some different options. You pick the one that fits your budget. If it doesn't fit your budget, it doesn't make sense, right? And then, of course, they say yes. They're always going to agree with that. We got to get you approved first, so we'll fill out some paperwork, send it in, and forward it to the carrier for approval. I should have an answer within 7 to 10 days. Sometimes I'll say a week to 2 weeks, just make it a little bit easier. At the end of the day, we always want to under-promise and over-deliver, right? They'll usually give me 2 questions. They'll say yes or no. If they say yes, great. We'll start your coverage. In about 2 weeks, you'll get a policy in the mail. Once you get your policy, I please need you to call me. I want to mark it on your file. You got what you need. But if you need me to, I'll come back through and we'll go through the policy to make sure the numbers are correct and that you definitely understand it all. All right? Let's see here. I lost my place. I just had some notes. Here we go. We'll put the first month's premium with it because it binds the insurance company. Just like my policy, they have to send it to my bank on the exact same day every month, so they know what day it is. So you'll know what day it's on. It's going to be on the same day every month, just like everybody else does. And I say that very quickly, and I just keep moving on. I don't pause about it. I don't make it a big deal because that's how everybody does it, right? If you make it a big deal and you make that uncomfortable and say, they're going to go into your bank account and they're going to draft money out of your account. Or if I send it, they'll send the payment to your bank and then your bank will pay it, right? It's the same thing. It just sounds less intrusive for me to say they're going to send it to your bank versus they're going to do a withdrawal from your bank. They're going to get into your checking account every month. And they're not going to get in their checking account unless they approve it. But I want them to understand the process, right? So this is all expectations. As I said also, today's not decision day. It's the first step in just getting our foot in the door with the carrier. Does all that make sense? They say yes. I'll go right back into it again, and I'll say, now look, Jen, I understand all that makes sense, but in order for me to see what you guys qualify for, and usually when I say this, I'm actually writing different things down the side of the page, which kind of explains the whole process. We're very visual. And so I'll say, does that make sense? Yeah, perfect. I said, okay, now, Jen, in order for me to get your family approved, to get you approved for this is exactly the process I need to go. Is this something that you want to do? And I know it's kind of after twice, but I'm really digging hard right now to get a buy-in because this is where I'm asking for the sale. If you want to, if you ever want to call asking for a sale, this is it. I want to make sure that we know before I go through, any health questions, before I go through any numbers, that I have a buy-in. Because right now, if they say, well, I'm not really sure if this is what we want to do. Because I'll tell you how many, probably 100 or less, I don't know, it could be 75 to where I just went through all the numbers in my learning curve, right? This is why everybody's on the call today, because you're taking the things that I've learned, and hopefully you're not going to do a lot of it. You're still going to make your mistakes. You're still going to, need some help. That's okay, but this is why we're on the call. So at the end of the day, If they say, yep, that's fair, that's what I want to do, great, game on. I go through health questions. Do you have any cancer, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, COPD, emphysema, depression, anxiety? I go through everything. And I'll say those off the top of my head first so I can really get an idea where they're at. The next thing I ask them is, hey, what do you take medication for? What medications have you taken that you don't take anymore at all for the last 5 years? So maybe they were on blood pressure medication or they were on depression medication or something that they just came off of. And I'll write the name of the medication and I'm right to decide what it's for. And I'll say, when were you diagnosed with that? And I'll write 2 or 3 years ago or 1998 or 2015. Sometimes they know the exact date, sometimes they don't. So I'm getting a general sense of doing underwriting right away when I go through that bit of information. I'll do it again real quick if anybody's writing this down. I'll say, do you have any cancer, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, emphysema, COPD, use any oxygen, depression? These are all the major things that all the carriers want, right? There might be some more I'm missing, but at the end of the day, those are the big things, right? And then the next thing I'll ask them is, what are you taking medication for? Not what kind of medication are you taking, what are you taking it for? Because they're going to know, they may not know the name of the medication, but they're going to know they're taking it for arthritis, or they're taking it for COPD, right? And the longer that you do this, if you haven't been doing it that long, you will start understanding what medications are. So the really interesting thing is when I really started getting into more life insurance and health insurance and dealing with medications, I start watching these drug commercials a lot more. Because to be honest, they're actually everything my clients are taking. And you actually do learn, like, okay, that's for this problem, right? And so, and if you don't know what something is, look it up. Google's awesome. We use Google for everything, right? Everybody does. There's a paragraph, and then you worry about it, right? This is your job, and if you don't know your job, well, then you can't help your clients out that well, because the better job at underwriting you're going to do, and the more cases you're going to get approved. It's like we typically get about 96% of our cases approved. Why? Because we're doing simplified issue. And 2, I understand the underwriting process, and if I'm kind of vague on whether or not I should write a claim on this particular product, I'll call the underwriter. If you're writing a good company, they're going to have access to the underwriters, right? That's a very big deal. So that's really pretty much the appointment process that I do. And then I'll go through and I'll show them some numbers, just like I said. And everything, the expectations that I went through them, that's exactly what I do there to make sure that they know what the process is, and that's exactly what I do. So I said what I was going to do, and now I'm going to do what I'm going to say. Right? I'm going to do what I said, right? So at the end of the day, when I do what I said I was going to do, they're going to trust me more, right? And then before I leave, I'll say, now, is there any questions or anything? And we'll make sure I get all their banking information and a void check and do all that. So, any questions, Jim?
Yeah, one question that someone had. When you've completed the application, are you binding them by collecting the first month's premium at the time you write the application, or do you always do it COD and have the premium drafted when the policy's approved and issued?
I never do COD. I always draft a bond issue. I always get a voided check. Sometimes I will, well, I guess let's put it this way. Tell them to write a check out. Because if they're writing a check out to, let's say, Mutual of Omaha, I just wrote one this week. If they're writing a check out to Mutual of Omaha, it's more real to them than if they just give you a voided check, right? Especially early on when you're trying to make, they have to trust you, of course, but in answer to your question, have them write a check out, and then I'll say, okay, I'll turn this in. I never turn the voided check in. I never turn the check in because I never turn the live check in. I have to actually turn it in. I basically do that for them so they feel like this is the real thing that they're doing, right? And then I just take the bank numbers and I put them all in because everything's done electronic anyways, and so it's not a big deal. But you can do it either way, but having them write a check out will be more real.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
No, I guess there's no more questions that anybody has. So, but I appreciate you going through your process and how you run an appointment and all the steps from A to Z. I mean, that's very helpful.
Yep, no problem. I will tell you that if you guys aren't right Mutual of Omaha, I definitely recommend them. They are so fast right now. I wrote a Term Life Express, put it in on Monday, and it was approved in my bank account by Wednesday.
Wow.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
It was pretty phenomenal. I do know that Phoenix is doing a fast job on their Express. They're kind of doing the same thing right now on the Express, Term Express. But I did hear from Tim a little while ago, we were talking about this, and he said starting in May, the regular term is supposed to be a 24-hour turnaround also. So sounds like they're getting their game together with everything over at Phoenix also. But
sure.
Mutual of Omaha right now is smoking hot as far as turnaround time. You want to get paid in the same week, they'll write something at the beginning of the week, and it'll be in your bank account by the end. Pretty nice.
Yeah, very nice. Another question. Have you ever dealt with anybody that does not have a green card or driver's license and able to provide a solution for them?
If they don't have a green card or driver's license, they have to have some sort of state ID. Mostly every company, adults will. They're going to have something. Usually, I usually ask them about it. If you have a state ID, and that usually suffices. But personally, I have never run across that.
Okay.
It's just if they're running across that, it's a fluke. I mean, out of 100 times, you're gonna get that. Maybe once, if any.
Okay. And maybe you can, I know the answer to this, but maybe you can elaborate on this. Why do you use simplified issue rather than going through an underwriting application?
Very, very easy question to answer. I'll be happy to answer this. If you're writing fully underwritten, let me say this the nicest way I can. Somebody told me this once. What is fully underwritten? What's the initials of fully underwritten? FU, right? Essentially, that's what you can be doing to your clients. It's terrible to say, but I've always thought it was funny. Because at the end of the day, fully underwritten is going to take, probably 3 to 6 weeks minimum. They have to get a paramed exam. If you write any term, it's going to be pretty darn close to what a fully underwritten price is. I never want to put my clients through talk about it too much. I have the appointments going, and they'll I have this, but I had to do it. I had a nurse come out, and we did that, and they're great. We don't have to do any of that here. I don't have a nurse coming out to take blood. At the end of the day, I'll tell you, never give DNA to an insurance company. Why? Because they're looking for a reason to rate you up or not cover you at all. And with fully underwritten, it's true. Let me explain the situation I had real quick. So I had a gal that had, I went and saw her, and she was like, well, I've already filled out an application with this one company. She still has me out. I said, okay, that's fine. And she was going fully underwritten with somebody. Nurse came out there, did blood and urine. She calls me up a week later and says, or actually 2 weeks, because it took a little bit, because they had to go through, get all the results back. And they go, well, they found something in my blood, and they didn't approve me. Or no, I'm sorry, no, they rated her up, and her premium went up 3 times what they said it was going to be, right? So she just thought it was just ridiculous. So at the end of the day, I checked her out, went through underwriting, everything, wrote her up on simplified issue, got her covered. If somebody, what people don't understand is, if they find something doing a paramed exam, it will go to the MIB, the Medical Information Bureau, and that's a company that all insurance companies share information, right? So if I get some blood work, if I get my DNA taken from a insurance company, they find something, it gets recorded on the MIB, and then it could potentially keep me from getting insurance for the rest of my life or harm me. It's like a credit report. It will stay on there for a certain amount of time. Does that make sense, Ken?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Yep.
So you're what's the premium difference really? If you're going after the lowest price premium for your clients to get them covered, you're doing it wrong. I gotta tell you, I've been doing this way too long. In the 10 years I've been doing this, I bet I've written 5 fully underwritten policies. I have written them. The last one I wrote was $2.5 million. I can't write simplified issue on $2.5 million, right? But the guy was very healthy and he had no problem getting approved. Actually, he got rated up a little bit, but we kind of knew what was happening. Here's the one I'm going to get off this horse. Probably 7 to 8 out of 10 people, if not more, will always get rated up to close to standard, if not. Because if you have blood pressure problems or you have cholesterol or something, they're going to see that, and then they're going to rate them up. On simplified issue, I can go to Phoenix, and they can have blood pressure and cholesterol drugs and not even be an issue. It's a no-brainer, right? Yeah. So, and on my end, I'm trying to feed my family. You know, I'm not doing anything wrong by not offering fully underwritten. I'm actually doing my clients a favor, right? And I get paid faster. If I did fully underwritten, that $650 I made from that $50 a month policy, or I don't know how much it was, I guess $65, $70. Whatever I wrote this past Monday with Mutual of Omaha, I just made $650 on Wednesday. It would have been another month until I got paid if it went through fully underwritten.
Yep. Makes sense.
You kind of hit a hot button for me there, buddy.
One last thing. Are you an individual producer, or do you kind of have it, or an agency builder?
We kind of do a little bit of both. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, one of our listeners was just kind of curious on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in the business 10 years now. Really got started in Medicare and that and health insurance, and then ever since 2009, we started doing mortgage protection, and it's been a game changer.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the last thing I want to leave you with, Jim, is everything that we talk about. Well, let me kind of go back a little bit. Jim, do you play blackjack?
Once in a while.
Once in a while. Do you understand the rules of blackjack? The basic strategy of blackjack?
The basic rules, yes.
Okay. So you understand blackjack. You can eventually, over a long term, win more than losing, right?
Sure.
Okay. So that's the analogy I want to give everybody is, if you understand, and you don't have to understand blackjack, I'm just kind of explaining something to you. So in blackjack, if you understand these rules, you'll win more than losing over a long-term period, if you play it correctly 100% all the time. Now, everything that I gave you here is all the rules for mortgage protection. And my rules are going to vary a little bit different from Tim Lankford's, and it's going to vary a little different from the next person. But we're all going to be 95% the same, right? And that's because Tim and I learned the same. We've been doing this the same. We've helped each other out. It's what works, right? Now, is it going to work 100% of the time? No, it's not. But if you follow this strategy, just like blackjack, you're going to win more than not. Okay, you're going to have more closes than non-closes. All right? Now, does that mean you're still going to go 10 appointments in a row and not close anything? Yeah, but you're going to do it less often. This is a numbers game, and I mean, I think my record's 22 appointments in a row without closing anything. But that was early on in my career when I was trying to learn all this. And then if you're having really good success and you're closing 18 out of 20 appointments, well, get ready, because you're about to hit one of those slumps. You're going to go 5 to 8 appointments without closing anything. Maybe you won't right away, but eventually you will. It's the numbers, right? But the whole blackjack analogy is, if you follow these steps that we give you, and you take some of the things that we've taught you and you apply them, you're going to be a lot more successful in the long run, I promise you.
Sounds good. Chris, I appreciate all of your information, and I'm sure the listeners got quite a bit out of how you run your business. So I wanted to thank you, and I know Tim thanks you for being on the call this morning, and have a good rest of the day.
All right. Have a blessed weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for sitting in and listening to the webinar today. There's a few questions that people have yet that I will answer offline here. So with that, hope your week was productive. Have a good weekend, and we will see you on our webinar next Tuesday. Thank you. Bye.